I'm back with another video, man. Hey, in today's video, as y'all know, today is the first day of March Madness tournament has begun. And today I'm going to talk about St. John's, not that they got upset or anything, but just to spread some spotlight on them, because St. John's, over the course of the college basketball season, they've been one of my favorite teams to watch. You know, they've been a very enjoyable watch throughout this whole season, and I don't think they really been getting the credit they deserve. Now, coming into the tournament, I got them going into the least, making it to at least the Final Four. You know, and the main reason is because of that. You know, before I get to all that, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, do all those good things and stuff like that. You know, they just put the beat down on Omaha, things like that. But before I get into that game, I'm gonna give y'all my reasons. The main reason why I think they can get far into the tournament. Number one reason is that they compete on defense. You know, they're a very well coached team. They get after on the defensive side. On the defensive side of the ball, they're very active. And the main thing that I like about watching St. John's play, and why I think why they're so likable to me, because they one of those teams where they look out for each other. You know, they have each other's backs. You know, as you watch them, you know, one person get blown by another person right there to pick them up and recover. You know, close out. They gonna close out for each other. You know, help side defense after help side defense, close out. And every time that a shot go up, they gonna make sure the shot is contested. That's the number one thing that I like about them. They show that they got discipline. They show that they want to play defense. They show that they have grittiness, and they show that they are a very well coached team. Now, today's game, like I said, they put a beat down on Omaha, which, you know, a lot of people expected, which I expected since I got them going to the Final Four. But starting off in the first half, it was a little bit rocky, a little bit shaky. Omaha came out with a good game plan, tried to force them into, you know, shooting a lot of perimeter jump shots. You know, instead of getting them inside, instead of getting 2 feet inside the paint, they packed the paint a little bit, forced St. John's to take the 3 ball, which at first the strategy was kind of a little bit working. You know, St. John's looked a little bit rattled. They weren't pushing the ball. They weren't getting a lot of turnovers, in which, like I said, St. John's, their identity to me is their defense. You know, their defense create offense in a sense, because they like to, you know, they like to get points off turnovers. They like to play in the open court. They like to play fast and things like that, which Omaha kind of slowed the tempo down, slowed the game down, which kind of made it, you know, a little clunky game, which kind of caused a little bit of troubles in the first half for St. John's. But come the second half, you seen the switch come on for St. John's. They was getting after on the defensive side of the ball, picking up 94 feet, making it hard for Omaha guards, making it hard for them, you know, to get into the offense and things like that. And another thing that Omaha was doing in the first half will kind of slow St. John's down is that, you know, St. John's is a good defensive rebound. There's a good rebounding team, period. I'm not just going to put a defensive or offensive side of the rebound and the things of that nature or that type of category, because I think St. John's, you know, they do a lot of things well. Like I said, they're very well coached. They're a very disciplined team. They going to defend, and they're a team that prides themselves on the glass. One of the best rebounding teams in the country. So, with that being said, Omaha in the first half was kind of limiting St. John's to one shot at a time, one possession, and that was it. You know, they weren't really getting second chance points like that, which they was beating them to all the 50-50 balls. They was out hustling them. They was out rebounding them, which kind of made the game a little bit clunky. But like I said, with St. John's being one of the best second half teams in all of college basketball, they came out with a different mentality, with a different, you know, state of mind, and it's just like they flipped the switch. Because from the first half to the second half, St. John's like a completely different team. You know, they came out in the second half, like I said, they were picking up 94 feet. They started crashing the offense. They started crashing the offense and defensive glass. They was limited to Omaha to one shot per possession. And whenever they was securing the rebound, they were getting out in transition and playing in the open court. Which St. John's, they got a lot of guys who can beat you off the dribble. Which, if you watch my page, go back and watch any of my previous videos. As I preach in college basketball, when it comes down to March, I don't care what you do in January. I don't care what you did in November, October, February, none of that. Once March hit, it's all about the guards. And if you don't got good guard play, you cannot win in March. And that's something that St. John's have. They got a plethora of them. Which they got Smith. They got They got R.J. Lewis. They got they got buku guards over there who can be able to get 2 feet in the paint. They can be able to shoot the mid range. Who can shoot the pull up. Who can break down the defense and things like that. Who can get you in and out of offenses. That's why I like St. John's. And another reason why I like them and why I'm so confident, why I think they can get far, because they not a young ball club. The guys that they play, usually St. John's play around 8 to 9 deep, and they are true 8-9 deep guys, because all 8-9 guys are worthy of coming in and being productive. It's one thing you can be 8-9 deep, and you just got guys to fill in just in case somebody injured. In case somebody get in foul trouble, okay, we're going to roll you in. Somebody don't got the high hand, okay, we're going to roll you in. But no, with St. John's, it's different. They got 8 to 9 guys legitimately who can get you in double figures, who can create something off the bounce, can create their own shot, create for their teammates and others. And on the other side, they're going to, like I said, they're going to get after on the defense side of the ball. They're going to rebound. They're going to watch. They're going to look out for each other. There's a well-connected ball club, and that's why I watch from St. John's, which a lot of these other, podcasters are, sports commentators are, these sports analysts that you see on ESPN, on these bigger platforms and things like that. They like to talk about the Dukes. They like to talk about the Auburns, the Floridas, the teams they usually get a lot of hype around them. But St. John been kind of flying under the radar, which they've been one of the best teams in the country all season long. Only had 4 losses throughout the whole season. Those 4 losses was a combined 7 points through the 7 losses. That's how close they was from being, undefeated. And me watching basketball and me watching, with a bird's eye view, with a third, I watch it with a third eye, because I played high-level basketball and things like that. I know how the game's supposed to be played, and when I watch it, I know how it's supposed to look and what a good team look like. St. John's embodies all that. Once you got a team who can defend, who plays transition, who got good guard play, who got a good big man where you can throw it down to him just in case y'all need to slow it down and play in the half court. A team that's connected, a team that's well coached, a team that's disciplined, a team that's fast, scrappy, who can semi-shoot the 3-ball well. And they got a guy over there in R.J. Lewis who's going to be a draft lottery pick over there, which that can change a dynamic of a team. And I just really like the way St. John's play. Once you got 8-9 guys who can go out and get you 10 to 15, 20 points. Not saying all 8-9 guys gonna give you 20 points, but I'm saying that capable of any given night, two or three of the 8-9 guys can get you 15 plus. That's what makes St. John's dangerous to me. Like I said, this game right here was kind of a beat down, so it really ain't too much to analyze. It's just that from once St. John started playing St. John's type of basketball and they started defending, they stopped allowing Omaha to crash the offensive glass and allowing them to get second chance points. And once the 3-point shot started falling, it was wraps. I told you about the defensive side of the ball already. To me, I know you got Tennessee, you got Tennessee and teams like that in the nation, but to me, St. John's, to me, what they put on tape and what they put on film, to me, they got to be the best defensive teams, and that's just my opinion, because it's not just a one-man band over there. It's a collective group, and we got a collective group that's all on the string like that. It's gonna be very hard to beat. And another thing is that they're not a young team. Most of their team, the 8-9 guys that they play is either a junior or a senior. So that's not a young team over there. They're a team that got experience. Not more so that they got experience in the NCAA tournament and things like that, because these were some of those guys' first time being in the tournament, which kind of had those type of nerves. In the first half, things like that, you kind of see it. Like I said, once they settle down, them having that college experience overall, with them being juniors, seniors, they kind of let themselves settle into the game and things like that. You kind of see them just take off. And St. John's, they're going to be a dangerous team for anybody to have to play. Like I said, what they do on the defensive side of the ball, forget offensively. Defensively, that's where it all starts with them. Once they can be able to get under your skin and rattle you and make you speed up in what you're trying to do, they're going to be a hard team to beat, man. But that's really what this video was about. Just trying to praise and give a shout out to St. John's basketball, because if y'all don't know about them now, just turn me around, y'all gonna know about them. And after watching this video, I need y'all to go watch some of St. John's highlights, some of their rewatch some of their games this season, and just see how well they defend, see how well they well coach, just see how they play, just see how they play together. St. John is a beautiful watch. Like I said, they're one of my favorite teams to watch in college basketball. And you know, when we got a player like R.J. Lewis, and R.J. Lewis gonna be one of the top lottery picks this season. This game, he had a jump shot going, but that's a team that like to get 2 feet in the paint, who can dribble, drive, dribble, kick. You know, they're capable of knocking down the 3. But when you got guys collapsing like that, and all you got to do is wind it up, with them being high-level basketball players that they is, obviously, you know, they're going to get to knocking it down eventually, which Omaha kind of came back and bit them in the butt. You know, just letting these guys just wind up, shoot threes all night. But that's really all I got to say, man. Just make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe. And y'all let me know in the comment section what y'all think about St. John. Do y'all think they going to be eliminated earlier in the round? Do y'all think they can go to the... Do y'all agree with me thinking they can make it to the Final Four? Because I got them going to the Final Four. The way they can defend the basketball, how many guys they got a elite team. A well put together team. I don't want to call... It's kind of named like Jahlil Okafor. Jahlil Okafor a little bit. Whatever his name is, his twin, that big man in there. You know, hey, they're going to be a dangerous out. But that's all I got for y'all, and I'll see y'all next time.